Shalom, my brothers and sisters in Yahweh, our Elohim, and welcome to our midweek Bible study. Tonight, we're going to be studying Bemidbar, which is Numbers chapters 31, 32, and 33. So go ahead and grab your Bibles, gang, and we'll get started tonight. I won't keep anybody. I know we're getting real close to the end of the week now. We're halfway through. So go ahead and get comfortable. Get yourself something to drink, cup of coffee or something. And we'll get started here tonight, alright? Alright. Ready? Bemidbar, chapter 31. Oh yeah, by the way, that's Numbers. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Take vengeance for the children of Israel on the Midianites. After that, you are to be gathered to your people. So Moshe's time is growing short. It's about time for him to die and move on. Getting time. Okay, and then we're going to take vengeance on the Midianites. Yeah, this is going to get good, gang. Verse 3, And Moshe spoke to the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves for the campaign. Let them go against the Midianites to take vengeance for Yahweh on Midian. Send 1,000 from each tribe of all the tribes of Israel for the campaign. So there were supplied from the tribes of Israel 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 armed ones for the campaign. And Moshe sent them on the campaign, 1,000 from each tribe, them and Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, on the campaign, with the set-apart utensils and the trumpets for sounding in his hand. And they fought against the Midianites, as Yahweh commanded Moshe, and they killed all the males. And they killed the sovereigns of Midian, with the rest of those who were pierced, Ivai, and Rechem, and Sur, and Hur, and Reba, the 5 sovereigns of Midian. And they killed Balaam, son of Beor, with the sword. Remember Balaam? Yeah, they schwacked him too. And the sons of Israel took all the women of Midian captive, with their little ones, and took as spoil all their livestock, and all their possessions. And they burned with fire all the cities where they dwelt, and all their settlements. And they took all the spoil, and all the booty, both of man and beast. And they brought the captives, and booty, and the spoil to Moshe, and to Eleazar the priest, and to the congregation of the children of Israel, to the camp in the desert plain of Moab, by the Jordan of Jericho. And Moshe and Eleazar the priest, and all the leaders of the congregation went to meet them outside the camp. But Moshe was wroth with the officers of the army, with the commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds, who had come from the campaign. And Moshe said to them, Have you kept all the women alive? Look, they are the ones who caused the children of Israel, through the word of Balaam, to trespass against Yahweh in the matter of Peor. And this was a plague among the congregation of Yahweh. Okay, if you guys remember, Numbers 25, 1 through 9. Okay, when Balaam of Beor was told to curse them, and he wouldn't curse them. He just kept blessing them over and over and over and over and over. Well, if you guys remember right, at the end of that, he said, well, you know, guys, instead of blessing them, maybe you guys ought to just try to breed with them. and that way you can conquer them. And so now Moshe's like, there was this plague that came down on them because Yahweh got mad at them for getting together with all the Midianites, and there was a plague that killed off a whole bunch of them, and Phineas ran through two of them with a spear, and there was a big mess there because of the fact that they were fornicating with the Midianites, okay? If you can't beat them, join them kind of a deal, and it didn't fly. It did not fly. So now Moshe is like, are you kidding? Are you guys kidding? You did all this stuff, and there was a plague that came upon us, and it was a big old mess, and a bunch of people died because y'all were messing around with the Midianites, and then you bring their women back with you? Really? Ugh. Alright, let's continue on here. Verse 16, this goes into it. Look, they are the ones who caused the children of Israel, through the word of Balaam, to trespass against Yahweh in the matter of Peor. And there was a plague among the congregation of Yahweh, see? And now kill every male among the little ones, and every woman who has known a man by lying with a man, you shall kill. But keep alive for yourselves all the female children who have not known a man by lying with a man, okay? So, you know, anybody that's of an adult age, that's sexually promiscuous, schwack them. Because we're not to even mess around with these people. You guys were supposed to schwack them there. But the little ones, we might be able to reform. If we can take the little ones aside and teach them the Torah, then those will be some of those that sojourn among the children of Israel. See how that works? Yeah. So they're going to try to teach the little ones, but all the adults, get rid of them because they're trash. They're out there sacrificing people and babies and drinking blood and doing all that nasty stuff, worshiping idols and all kinds of crazy stuff. Get rid of them. We're going to take over the land. All right. Verse 19. And you, camp outside the camp 7 days, whoever has killed any being, and whoever has touched any slain. Cleanse yourselves and your captives on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. Okay, remember Numbers 19:11? Yeah, if you come across a dead body, you're supposed to clean up. You ain't supposed to bring that garbage into the camp because it causes diseases. So, yeah, you can understand that part right there. Verse 20, and cleanse every garment and every object of leather and all the work of goat's hair and every object of wood. Yeah, you got to clean it all. You got to disinfect everything. Because, you know, that blood's going to transmit diseases if it gets around. So clean up everything that you got. You know, wipe everything down till you got your sword and clean it all up. Wipe it down with oil. Get it ready to go again. You know, all that kind of stuff. 21. And Eleazar the priest said to the men of the campaign who went to the battle, this is the law of the Torah which Yahweh commanded Moshe. Only the gold and the silver, the bronze, the iron, the tin, and the lead. Every object that passes through fire, you put through the fire, and it shall be clean. Only let it be cleansed with the water for uncleanness. And whatever does not pass through the fire, you pass through water. So, you know, all the gold and silver and stuff like that, you can purify it. Melt it down, purify it, pull off the dross. You know how all that goes. We already went through all that too. Purify the metals, and anything else, wash it. Get it clean. Verse 24. And you shall wash your garments on the 7th day and be clean, and afterward come into the camp. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, count up the plunder that was taken of man and beast, you and Eleazar the priest, and the heads of the fathers of the congregation. So they're counting up the booty. They're seeing what all they got. Verse 27, and you shall divide the plunder into 2 parts, between those who took part in the battle, who went out on the campaign, and all the congregation. So they're getting ready to split up the booty from whatever they brought back with them. Verse 28, and set aside a levy for Yahweh on the men of battle who went out on the campaign, one out of every 500 of man, and of the cattle, and of the donkeys, and of the sheep. So they're getting ready to set it aside. All the guys that are veterans that went out there and fought, they're going to get 1 in 5, okay? I'm sorry, 1 out of every 500 they're going to get. Verse 29, take it from their half, and give it to Eleazar the priest as a contribution to Yahweh. And from the children of Israel's half you shall take 1 of every 50 of man, of the cattle, of the donkeys, and of the sheep, of all the livestock, and give them to the Levites, guarding the duty of the dwelling place. So that's the Levites' share of it. Verse 31, and Moshe and Eleazar the priest did as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And the booty remaining from the plunder, which the people of the campaign had taken, was 675,000 sheep. That was a lot of sheep. And 72,000 cattle. Talk about starting a ranch. And 61,000 donkeys, and 32,000 human beings in all, of women who had not known a man by lying with a man. So little girls. Wow, that's a bunch. 32,000 little girls that they, yeah. So they're going to adopt those little girls and try to teach them how to be Hebrews, Israelites. You know, teach them the Torah. See if they can keep them from being wicked heathens. That's pretty cool. Verse 36, and the half, the portion for those who went out on the campaign, was in number 337,500 sheep. So those are the amount of sheep that the guys that went out to fight got. And the levy unto Yahweh of the sheep was 675. That goes to Yahweh. And the cattle were 36,000, of which the levy unto Yahweh was 72. And the donkeys were 30,500, of which the levy unto Yahweh was 61. And the human beings were 16,000, of which the levy unto Yahweh was 32 beings. So if they gave those ones to Yahweh, they ended up with the Levites, and they're going to raise them up to be the daughters of priests. 41. So Moshe gave the levy, which was the contribution unto Yahweh, to Eleazar the priest, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And from the children of Israel's half, which Moshe divided from the men who campaigned, now the half belonged to the congregation, was 337,500 sheep, and 36,000 cattle, and 30,500 donkeys, and 16,000 human beings. Then Moshe took from the children of Israel's half, 1 out of every 50, drawn from man and beast, and gave them to the Levites, who guarded the duty of the dwelling place of Yahweh, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And the officers who were over thousands of the campaign, the commanders of thousands and the commanders of hundreds, came near to Moshe, and they said to Moshe, your servants have taken account of the fighting men under our command, and not a man of us is missing. So nobody that went out to battle got smote. They all came back. That's kind of encouraging, huh? For everybody else that was at home going, oh worry, oh worry. Not one of them got killed. Verse 50. So we have brought an offering for Yahweh, what every man found of ornaments of gold, armlets and bracelets, and signet rings, and earrings and necklaces, to make atonement for ourselves before Yahweh. So they got a whole bunch of gold and silver, jewelry that they found while they were taking the place, and they're bringing it all as atonement for themselves because they didn't lose anybody in the battle. And they're making an atonement to Yahweh, giving it all to the priest. That's pretty neat. And all the gold of the offering that they presented to Yahweh from the commanders of thousands and the commanders of hundreds was 16,750 shekels. That's quite a tote. The men of the campaign had taken spoil, every man for himself, and Moshe and Eleazar the priest received the gold from the commanders of thousands and of hundreds, and brought it into the tent of appointment as a remembrance for the children of Israel before Yahweh. And that's the end of 31. Okay? Chapter 32. Let me grab this pen out of the way, it's bugging me. And the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had much livestock, you think, after all those animals? A large number. And they saw the land of Yazur and the land of Gilead, and saw that the place was a place for livestock. Some of the children of Gad and the children of Reuben came and spoke to Moshe and to Eleazar the priest, and to the leaders of the congregation, saying, Adaroth, and Dibon, and Yazur, and Nimrah, and Heshbon, and Elelah, and Sabam, and Nebo, and Bayon, the land which Yahweh has stricken before the congregation of Israel is a land for livestock, and your servants have livestock. And they said, If we have found favor in your eyes, let this land be given to your servants as a possession, and do not let us pass over the Jordan. They're trying to get out of going to serve to take over the rest of the land. Excuses. Verse 6, And Moshe said to the children of Gad and to the children of Reuben, Are your brothers to go into battle while you yourselves sit here? Now why do you discourage the heart of the children of Israel from passing over into the land which Yahweh has given them? Thus your fathers did when I sent them away from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up to the Wadi Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Israel, so that they did not go into the land which Yahweh had given them. Then the displeasure of Yahweh burned on that day, and he swore an oath, saying, Not one of the men who came up from Mitzrayim, from 20 years old and above, is to see the land of which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because they did not follow me completely, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, and Joshua, son of Nun, for they have followed Yahweh completely. So the displeasure of Yahweh burned against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years, until all the generation that had done evil in the eyes of Yahweh was destroyed. So now we've come full circle, and you guys are going to try to pull this act again? Verse 14, And see, you have risen in your father's place, an increase of men, sinners, to add still more the burning displeasure of Yahweh against Israel. So y'all are doing worse than your fathers did now. For if you turn away from following him, he shall once again leave them in the wilderness, and you shall destroy all these people. So if you guys blow it this time, I don't know if Dad's going to go along with this again at all. This could be really bad. Verse 16, Then they came near to him and said, Let us build sheep enclosures here for our livestock, and cities for our little ones. But let us ourselves be armed, hastening before the children of Israel until we have brought them to their place. And our little ones shall dwell in the walled cities because of the inhabitants of the land. We shall not return to our homes until every one of the children of Israel has received his inheritance. So they said, Hey, how about if we do this? We'll leave the little ones and the livestock and our families back here, and we'll go in front, the point of the spear, the head of the spear. We'll go in front of the children of Israel, and we'll fight battles until we have conquered everything and everybody has gotten their own places, and then we can go home. So that doesn't sound like a bad deal. That sounds like a pretty good deal. Verse 19, for we shall not inherit with them on the other side of the Jordan and beyond, because our inheritance has fallen to us on this eastern side of the Jordan. So we'll go with you, but we're going to take this land over here, and we'll just live over here, but we'll still go with you. Verse 20, and Moshe said to them, if you make this promise, if, there's that word, if you arm yourselves before Yahweh for battle, and all your armed ones pass over the Jordan before Yahweh until he has driven out his enemies from before him, and the land has been subdued before Yahweh, then afterward you shall return and be guiltless before Yahweh and before Yisrael, and this land shall be your possession before Yahweh. So that's setting up the deal. Verse 23, but, there's that word again, but if you do not do so, then see, you shall sin against Yahweh, and know, your sin is going to find you out. Build cities for your little ones, and enclosures for your sheep, and do what you have promised. What's a promise? A promise is an oath. It's a covenant. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben spoke to Moshe, saying, your servants are going to do as my master commands. So yeah, okay, we'll go along with that. That sounds like a good idea. Make it a deal. Verse 26, and our little ones, our wives, our flocks, and all our livestock are going to be there in the cities of Gilead. But your servants are passing over every armed one of the army before Yahweh to battle, as my master says. And Moshe gave command concerning them to Eleazar the priest, and to Joshua son of Nun, and to the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. So we got a bunch of witnesses. And Moshe said to them, if the children of Gad and the children of Reuben pass over the Jordan with you, every man armed for battle before Yahweh, and the land has been subdued before you, then you shall give them the land of Gilead as a possession. But if they do not pass over armed with you, they shall have possessions among you in the land of Canaan. So that kind of gives everybody else the, hey, yeah, we need to get these guys over there with us, because if they don't go over there with us, then they're going to take up some of the land that's been promised to all you guys, and you're not going to get as much land. So they're like, yeah, okay, you guys, get over there with us. Verse 31, then the children of Gad and the children of Reuben answered, saying, as Yahweh has said to your servants, so we do. We ourselves are passing over armed before Yahweh into the land of Canaan, but the possession of our inheritance remains with us beyond the Jordan. So Moshe gave to the children of Gad, to the children of Reuben, and to half the tribe of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, the reign of Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, and the reign of Og, sovereign of Bashan, the land with its cities within the borders, the cities of the land round about. So all of the cities of Sihon and all of the cities of Og now belong to Reuben, Gad, and part of Manasseh. Verse 34, and the children of Gad built Dibon, and Ataroth, and Aror, and Ashtaroth, and Shophon, and Yazer, and Yegbahah, and Beth Nimrah, and Beth Haran, walled cities, and enclosures for sheep. And the children of Reuben built Heshbon, and Elal, and Kiratharam, Nebo, Baal Meon, the names being changed, and Shibmah, And they gave other names to the cities which they built. And the sons of Machir, son of Manasseh, went to Gilead and took it, and disposed the Amorites who were in it. So Moshe gave Gilead to Machir, son of Manasseh, and he dwelt in it. And Yair, son of Manasseh, went and took its small towns, and called them Havoth Yair. And Nabal went and took Keroth and its villages, and he called it Nabal, after his own name. That's the end of chapter 32. Chapter 33. Okay, now we're going to start, and we're going to give you a list of all the places that the children of Israel have been since they left Mitzrayim, since they left Egypt. Okay, this is all the list of all the places that they have been. Chapter 33. These are the departures of the children of Israel, who went out of the land of Mitzrayim by their divisions under the hand of Moshe and Aaron. And Moshe wrote down the starting points of their departures at the mouth of Yahweh. And these are their departures according to their starting points. So they departed from Rames in the first new moon, on the 15th day of the first new moon, on the morrow of the Pesach. The children of Israel went out with boldness before the eyes of all the Mitzrites. And the Mitzrites were burying all their firstborn, whom Yahweh had stricken among them. Also on their mighty ones Yahweh had executed judgment. Then the children of Israel departed from Rames and camped at Succoth. And they departed from Succoth and camped at Etham, which is on the edge of the wilderness. And they departed from Etham and turned back to Pi Haroth, which is east of Baal Zephon, and they camped near Migdol. And they departed from before Haroth, and passed over through the midst of the sea into the wilderness, went 3 days' journey in the wilderness of Etham, and camped at Marah. And they departed from Marah and came to Elim, and at Elim were 12 springs of water, and 70 palm trees, so they camped there. And they departed from Elim, and camped by the Sea of Reeds. And they departed from the Sea of Reeds, and encamped in the wilderness of Sin. And they departed from the wilderness of Sin, and camped at Dophkah. And they departed from Dophkah, and camped at Alush. And they departed from Alush, and camped at Rephidim. And there was no water for the people to drink. And they departed from Rephidim, and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. And they departed from the wilderness of Sinai, and camped at Kerboth Hatavah. And they departed from Kerboth Hatavah, and camped at Hatzeroth. And they departed from Hatzeroth, and camped at Rithmah. And they departed from Rithmah, and camped at Ramon Peretz. And they departed from Ramon Peretz, and camped at Libnah. And they departed from Libnah, and camped at Risah. And they departed from Risah, and camped at Kahel Athah. And they departed from Kahel Lathah, and camped at Mount Shapher. And they departed from Mount Shapher, and camped at Haradah. And they departed from Haradah, and camped at Machelhaloth. And they departed from Machelhaloth, and camped at Tahath. And they departed from Tahath, and camped at Terah. And they departed from Terah, and camped at Mithquah. And they departed from Mithquah, and camped at Hashmonah. And they departed from Hashmonah, and camped at Meseroth. And they departed from Meseroth, and camped at Beni Yaakan. And they departed from Beni Yaakan, and camped at Hor Haggadah. Haggad. Okay, sorry about that one. Missed that one. Verse 33, and they departed from Hor-Haggad and camped at Yabotha. And they departed from Yabotha and camped at Abernah. And they departed from Abernah and camped at Etzion-Geber. And they departed from Etzion-Geber and camped in the wilderness of Zin, which is Kadesh. And they departed from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor, on the boundary of the land of Edom. Then Aaron the priest went up to Mount Hor, at the mouth of Yahweh, and died there in the 14th year after the children of and died there in the 40th year after the children of Israel had come out of the land of Mitzrayim, on the first day of the 5th new moon. Now Aaron was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor. And the sovereign of Arad, the Canaanite, who dwelt in the south in the land of Canaan, heard of the coming of the children of Israel. So they departed from Mount Hor and camped at Salmanoah. And they departed from Salmanoah and camped at Punon. And they departed from Punon and camped at Oboth. And they departed from Oboth and camped at Ilah-ha-Abrim. At the border of Moab. And they departed from Ilim and camped at Dibon-Gad. And they departed from Dibon-Gad and camped at Almon Diblathayamah. There's a mouthful. And they departed from Almon Diblathayamah. Sorry, gang, that's a mouthful. And camped in the mountains of Abrim before Nebo. And they departed from the mountains of Abrim and camped in the desert plain of Moab by the Yarden of Jericho. And they camped by the Yarden from Beeth Yeshimoth as far as Abel Shittim in the desert plain of Moab. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe in the desert plain of Moab by the Yarden of Jericho, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when you have passed over the Yarden into the land of Canaan, then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land before you, and shall destroy all their engraved stones, and shall destroy all their molded images, and lay waste all their high places. So all their heathen garbage, it's got to go. Don't leave any of it. Don't leave any of their temples, their high places, none of their statues, nothing. Destroy it all. Verse 53, And you shall possess the land and dwell in it, for I have given you the land to possess. And you shall divide the land by lot as an inheritance among your clans. To the larger you give a larger inheritance, and to the smaller you give a smaller inheritance. Wherever the lot falls to anyone, that is his. You inherit according to the tribes of your fathers. And if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land before you, then it shall be that those whom you let remain shall be pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they shall trouble you in the land where you dwell. And it shall be that I do to you as I thought to do to them. So Yahweh's warning them, you better get rid of them all. Because if you don't get rid of them all, there's going to be problems. And they are going to cause you all kinds of problems. And then if you go against me like they did and start doing all their heathen garbage, ooh, then you're next. Yeah. Anybody for the Philistines? Yeah, they left some there. Alright, gang, that's it for chapter 33. That was a good read. There's a lot there. There's a lot there, and we're starting into the conquest of Canaan now. where Yahweh's taken back the land. That's his land, okay? It belongs to Yah. It doesn't belong to the children of Israel. It doesn't belong to the heathens that are there, all the different tribes that are there, Moab and the Ammonites and Jebusites and Perizzites and all the ites. It doesn't belong to them. It belongs to Yah. So he is booting out all these heathen tribes, and he's going to put the children of Israel in there as long as they follow his commands, his law, his Torah. Okay? So he's got a covenant with them, and if they don't go through with it, if they start screwing around and blending with the nations and crossing bloodlines and giving worship to idols and all this stuff, yeah, we'll see it. But Yahweh's going to boot them out too. He's giving them a chance though. Those are his people, and he never has booted out his people from him. They've always still been his people, even though they weren't in the land, and they still aren't in the land for a long time. But they're still his people. The children of Israel are still his people. Not necessarily what we call the Jews today, because those people are Zionists, and they're not of the children of Israel. They're actually, if you do your research and you look into it and you figure out who those people really are, you have to look into it. You have to search. Pray over it. Pray over it and do your own research. Those people are actually of the sons of Japheth. Okay, they're not of the sons of Shem, but they're of the sons of Japheth, and they hijacked being Hebrew because they were given a choice during the Crusades of either being Catholic or being Muslim, and they chose to claim that they were Hebrews. So they actually hijacked being Hebrews, but they're in all reality the sons of Japheth. Look into it. Look into it, and if you have any reason to believe that I'm wrong about all of this, drop it in the comments. We'll talk about it. Okay? So anyway, how nowadays could we even trace a bloodline? Good question. Because they have blended with the nations. After they were chased out of the land of milk and honey, the northern 10 tribes by Assyria, and then Judah, Benjamin, and the Levites out of Jerusalem by the Romans, they've been scattered. They're all over the place. Who knows who and who knows what and who knows who's what tribe, and how can you keep track of the bloodlines after 2,000 years? It's pretty difficult. But Yahweh knows, Yahuwah knows, and when we have the second Exodus, where everybody returns back to the land, Yahuwah will bring his children home. They'll be called. And then we'll know. Because we might not know, but Yahuwah knows. Yahweh knows. So, anyway, gang, that's a good read. I'm glad that y'all joined me, and thank you very much. And I hope you're learning a lot. I hope we're all learning a lot. And I hope that we're praying over this word. Yeah. And over what I'm reading to you, so that we can discern everything properly. And yeah, it's been really good. Got one more study in Numbers, and then we'll be going on to Deuteronomy. So hold on, gang. We're almost through the Torah. But y'all have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow night for our next extra canonical study in the book of Yashar. And then we'll see you again on Shabbat. Okay? Alright. Y'all have a great night. I hope the rest of your week goes, wow, flying right on by. And we'll be in Shabbat. Take care, everyone. Until we meet again. Shalom.